This is Ron from Super 8 to Video. I bought this film on eBay to see how much of it we can save. It has vinegar syndrome or something similar. We are going to use a flat iron to smooth it out. I'm going to take this big reel and break it down into smaller 3-inch reels so it is easier to work with. I usually only use two products, alcohol or film guard, to clean films. Up until now, this has worked good for me. I will start with alcohol and show you the results and why I abandoned it. Look at these white flakes on the dark plate here. Notice as I'm cleaning with the alcohol, these flakes are falling down on this plate ahead of where I'm cleaning. And it was this way throughout the reel. I cleaned it twice with alcohol and flattened it out and ran it through the machine, and this is what it looked like. No, that isn't the best picture, but that was the least of my problems. That white powder that was falling off the film started falling off even more after I cleaned it with alcohol. So I thought, you know what? I'll throw it in a bucket with a bunch of alcohol and clean the heck out of it. I did that, and the white powder even got worse. But before we go any further, I would like to show you a little bit more of what we're dealing with. From experience, I had learned a flat iron can take out the curl of a film and soften the film up as well. But this film had its own challenges I had never run into before. One of them was this white powder, but I did manage to solve that problem. I bought this film because I knew it was in really bad shape, and I wanted people to know that even films like this that look gnarled, curled, and just in terrible shape, and you would think is just a piece of trash, you can actually recover quite a bit of the film. This film is from 1936 and 1937. You can hear the brittleness in the film and see the white powder that is falling off the film as I was winding it up. This is the same reel today. The film is a lot softer. No, every little curve and every little curl is not out of it, but enough was out of it I was able to copy the film. Here is that same film that I showed earlier, side by side, as it was completed. But for now, we are going to get back to that white powder and how much trouble it can cause. Notice all the powder up front here. It's on the exposure plate. I'm certain it's not good for your machine having powder fall down in here. Plus what gets on this exposure plate, some of it gets brushed up underneath, and I'm sure it falls in the machine as well. This is why I abandoned alcohol. So next, I moved on to Film Guard. Keep in mind, I paid over $50 for this bottle, and we were asking it to do a lot. Parts of the film looked like this. It takes a lot of fluid to remove this much white powder. I had to clean it 4 times with Film Guard, then iron the film, and clean it 2 more times. That took care of the white powder. I would have been willing to do this, but there was one more problem, and that was parts of the film would wash off with each cleaning. Look at this one piece wrap itself up in the film. And when I got to the end of the film, look at this great big piece that came off. It wasn't Film Guard that was causing this problem. It happened right here as I was ironing the film. But if you look in the background, you can see some of the picture even came off before the iron touched it. When the iron straightens out the film, what I call the picture layer delaminates from the film. Here's a good example See how it's the picture layer delaminating, not the film itself coming apart. This doesn't happen to too much of the film. As an example, this is one of the worst cases I am showing, and it is still only like 1 second of film or something. Each time I would clean the film, it would find little spots much smaller than this, but would break out a few more frames, much like paint chips do when you're scraping off old paint. Because using Film Guard, I had to clean the film 6 times, and each time losing a little bit of the film and its expense, I decided to abandon it as well for this situation. Fortunately, a couple of years ago, I had read on a forum where somebody said they had used a product that you can get at any automotive store and hardware stores, and that is WD-40. Yes, that is correct. WD-40. I was leery of using it at first, but the more I worked with it, the more confident I became, and I got really aggressive like this. I sprayed the heck out of the film until a liquid formed in the bottom of the bucket. Then, for 5 minutes, every minute or so, I would spin the film around into the liquid. After that 5 minutes was up, having already put an old rag in another bucket, I took the used WD-40 and poured it into this bucket, letting the rag soak it up. Then I took the rag and hung it up on a tree to dry. I'm tapping on poster board that I buy at the dollar store for $1. When you take the film out of the bucket, this makes a great surface to put it on. I took a lint-free cloth and dried off or cleaned my films twice. This is the film now playing. Considering the condition that the film started out in, I was very happy with the results. I used Mercalli to stabilize the film. Neat Video was used to remove some of the digital noise. I will leave an affiliate link for Neat Video. Using Video Studio Pro, I sharpened the film, changed the exposure on a few clips, and did some other minor changes. I did not use any of these features in those earlier scenes of the San Francisco Bridge. You can expect, if you spray your film and put it in a bucket with WD-40, that all of the splices will come apart and you will have to resplice them. To resplice them, I found I had to use alcohol to clean up the few frames where the splicing tape is going to go. And I say splicing tape because if you try to use film cement type splicers like this, I find the WD-40 will not allow it to stick, even after it's been washed with alcohol. The film has shrunken so much over the years that even after it's ironed, the sprocket holes are no longer spaced properly. This makes it extra hard to align and splice the two clips together. Only one hole with the splicing tape will align with the film. Because of this, the machine always got stuck on every splice, and I had to help pull it through. First, I would try pushing down right here to help it pull through. If that didn't work, I would grab the reel over here on the left and open the door. Sometimes it would start by itself at this point, but if it didn't, I would push down with my finger here and move it manually until it caught and started moving on its own. Then I would quickly shut the door. I tried gluing down those delaminating picture pieces with superglue gel and film cement, both before and after I sprayed WD-40, and it didn't work for me. I'm not saying there's no way to do it. I'm just saying I never found a solution to this problem. I am now playing some of the areas that were the absolute worst in the film. Understand, huge sections of this part of the film had fallen off years ago before I even received the film. So, trying to save as many frames as I could, I thought, I'll just wipe it one time with an absorbent cloth. But that cloth wasn't lint-free. This is when I was experimenting. Not only is the lint showing up on the film, pieces of the film that had broken off are also floating on top and on the bottom of the films. If one of those pieces that is broken off were to fall down on the exposure plate and it has a lot of WD-40 on it, would it possibly stain the exposure plate? I really don't know, and I don't care to find out. Make sure you clean your films thoroughly, especially if you've soaked your film in a bucket with WD-40. These films do take time. I suggest setting aside 3 to 5 hours for a 3-minute film. You can have quite a mess by the time you're through. I saved mine to give you an example. The film on the top left is how it comes out of the machine. By cropping more than usual, you can cover up a multitude of sins. Because many of the little pieces that were breaking off were on the edges, I am cropping in, both on the left and right side, more than I would usually do. Remember that 5-inch reel is multiple 3-inch reels spliced together. Some of those reels were in pretty good shape, as you can see, and some of them were not so good. I chose these selections because I thought it gave a pretty good representation of what it actually looked like when I was done. About 80% of the film came out good enough that I would keep it. The other 20% I would probably delete and would never be seen again. By cropping this film multiple times when it gets out of alignment and using stabilization software, neat video, and white balancing the film, and a few other minor things, this film could actually be pretty good. Maybe someday I'll do it and I'll put it up as A Glimpse into San Francisco in the 1930s, or some other similar name. I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time. I put out a history newspaper called the Mountain Boomer Times, and I look at Super 8 films as part of history. And I hated the idea of knowing that some people would be throwing their films away when the truth is they could save them. I know the vast majority of people do not have films in this bad of shape, but for those that do, I wanted them to know they could save them, and hopefully they'll be saved forever. To test whether WD-40 may hurt other films, and I just got lucky with that one reel, I took the first foot of various films from different decades, black and white, color, 8mm, and Super 8, but I did not test sound Super 8 films, so I don't know what it would do to the sound strip, and sprayed them about every 5 minutes for 30 minutes, then cleaned them off and ran them through a machine and checked them to see if I could see any obvious damage. I could see none. I am not suggesting using WD-40 as a substitute for other film cleaners, because I do not know the long-term effects of WD-40 once it gets rolled up in the film and its chemicals sit there in the film for years. It may do long-term damage that does not show up with these little tests that I did. But if you have a reel that is in really bad shape, like my San Francisco reels were, I kind of see it. What do you have to lose? But do test little sections first and make sure the WD-40 doesn't do some major damage with your films. By the way, I highly suspect a regular iron and ironing board will work if you can get the temperature set correctly, but I'm not sure because I've never done it. And I was wondering if maybe the fabric under the ironing board wouldn't leave an imprint when the film is heated up and straightened out. The flat iron I used in this video is no longer available on Amazon, so I left an affiliate link to an iron that I think is better than the one that I used anyway. I have also left links to Film Guard, Alcohol, Neat Video, and WD-40. If you are interested in seeing other uses that I use a flat iron for with Super 8 to Video, click on the card when the moon is setting. This is Ron from Super 8 to Video, signing off.